We'll have a little look and see what's happening. One day I'll become the expert. Today is not that day. There are 5 people here already. Oh, hey Jim. Yes, I am not doing so well with the COVID. Managed to do a little bit of work from home today, which I was quite happy about. My brain seems to be functioning on some cylinders, so that's always a relief. Because whenever I get COVID fog, I think, oh, what if the words never come back? But have been able to do some good writing today. Hi David, 2 Davids in the chat. That's good. I'm using my phone today. So yeah, you can probably hear I'm not feeling myself. But I did think it'd be really nice to look through the Wyrd Science magazine. So this might not be a full-on... this will probably be a quick summary of Wyrd Science. So the history of this is... about 1 million years ago, I used to be in a band, and the editor of this Wyrd Science, John Power Jr., tried to book my band, and for whatever reason, I don't know if we finished but it never came to pass. But we then met, I can't remember how, when he started his first edition 0 of Wyrd Science, and I got to do some bits, as we say, and we'll come to this, but yeah, I got to write some pieces, which is pretty exciting whenever anyone in the geek industry puts their trust in me. It's really lovely and gave me a lot of confidence to know that I was, it just gives you confidence when the more you're asked to contribute to things that you love. It makes you feel better about yourself, and yeah, it was wonderful. And yeah, so we're now on issues 5 of Wyrd Science, unbelievably. This is the apocalyptic dystopian issue. You can tell I have COVID, my brain is not all here. But yeah, it's a grimdark kind of episode, and thank goodness I'm far enough down the path of grimdark to be able to handle the hardcore content. So let's just look at some pages together. So this is our editorial page. The lovely chap in the wizard's hat is our venerable editor, John Power. So it's his fault that this magazine exists, and he also does an amazing email. So yeah, the passion in JP and getting all this content and sharing it is completely unbelievable levels, and he loves his games, and thank God for us, just relentless in getting these issues out. As far as I can tell, he does most of the work himself. Obviously, he has help from a bunch of writers, but in terms of being one man pushing it all through, it is him. Exit Games, I'm so pleased that they are an official partner, because I'm pretty sure somebody from Exit Games came up to me at Dragon Meet and gave me a little bottles of red D4s, and it was like a bottle of healing potion he gave me for free. I thought it was a really cute thing. So check out Exit 23 Games. A vulnerable editor is funnier, perhaps truer. Aren't we all so vulnerable in society today? Some more than others. So the cover artist is the amazing Matt Pringle. I'm just seeing if I've got any of his other stuff here. I don't. Post Bedbugs, I don't have all my Wyrd Sciences in a row, but it's amazing. And Matt's medium of choice is the lino cut, where, he cuts it all out and then prints it, and it looks epic. I feel like that's definitely meant to be John as a space marine, which we're so happy about. And then some beautiful caltrops or D4s flying through the evening, flying through the cover. Yeah, again, apologising for COVID. I saw someone had said good evening in the chat and I said evening. So let's keep going. So in this lovely intro, John says, whether it's the Kafkaesque nightmare of paranoia, the malignant corporate dictatorships of cyberpunk, or the absurdly grimdark far future of Warhammer 40,000, yay! We often choose to holiday in hell, so what is it about these dystopias that attracts us? Well, as you all know, they don't attract me, so let's hope this magazine tells us why. And yay, so this is our contributors page, and yes, first you get to see my stupid face, top left. As you can see, I started writing a few years ago when my hair was incredibly short. We have Samantha Nelson, we have Shannon Appelklein, Chris Lowry, Rob Wyland, Dan Sherratt, Matt Pringle, and Lucas Kowalskuk. I probably butchered that name. Hi, John. Welcome. Hi, Flyan. So yeah, and I think it's really lovely to show the contributors to the mag. And then this is a quick start, which means it shows you that there's going to be a few pages where it just kind of whizzes you through loads of stuff. And then we go on to the features, and at the end, it's more kind of like little itty bitty hit points, which is kind of cool. It reminds me of ZX Spectrum magazine, that kind of format. So yeah, and I have to say it's beautiful online, but it's also really lovely. The cover feels very textured and gorgeous. So yeah, I would say buy a mag if you can get hold of one. So the first article is looking at Simon Starlinghag's Electric State. Again, apologies for pronunciation. So this sounds like a little bit of me. The story of a teenage girl and her toy robot on a road trip across an alternate 90s America, ravaged by conflict and technological decay and now littered with the remains of giant surreal war machines. Let's face it, that's one for all of us. The next page is an overview of the fantasy exhibition at the British Library, which I went to, highly recommend. Yeah, so nice little overview there. And then we go on. So this is a lovely, can I speak? This is a lovely overview. Hi, Alex. Hi, John. A lovely overview of a shop in Berlin called All the Problems in This World. So it's great to kind of, whenever I go to conventions, actually, I always spot a few people with massive bags. Case in point, Dragon Meet. You recently went to Dragon Meet, and there were just a couple of people who were going around with massive bags, just buying indie games from all the different vendors, and they were basically indie shop owners, and they'd come to Dragon Meet to pick up some bargains and get some new games and talk to creators. So it really is like the indie shop owners who look after everything for us. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool that we get the profile and we get the address of the shop at the end of the article so people can visit. Next thing we have is talk about the Tiny Minotaur Tavern, which has opened up in Austin. This is just really lovely because after COVID, we need real life gaming places. I love this intro. Most of us will have started an adventure in a fantasy tavern at some point in our gaming lives. Few, though, will have gone and built ourselves one. So that's a really nice overview of what Dana Bowell McKnight got up to. And then Meeple Power. I love the word meeple. I think that's a great headline. So this talks a little bit about the Tabletop Game Designers Association. So they've been set up recently to help support anybody who's working in game design. And there are a few of these groups set up. The other one I know of is the, I'm going to get this wrong. They are called TIN, the Tabletop Something Network. And I met them through Discord and they were at Dragon Meet too. But they are groups that are helping out, basically supporting game designers and anyone who's interested in tabletop gaming, which I think is really beautiful because this industry can be flourishing, but there's lots of opportunities to do things. But if you're just like a little meeple and you're like, hey, I have an idea for a game, you know, you might not realize there's a bunch of people out there who also have game ideas but have managed to get it together, and then they can give you their advice and love and help you out. So yeah, it's a nice introduction to an organisation that can help. Hi, Smiley Guy, welcome. Dave is saying, I think Grimdark appeals because it reflects a version of the injustices of our world back at us through a distorted lens. I agree, David. I just think the way that the world is looking right now, like, can we have some more unicorns and rainbows and winning golden lottery tickets? Oh, we do. We have a Wonka film. But yeah, I get it. It's just, yeah. The days are so short. Tomorrow will be the shortest day of the year in the UK. Hi, anyone not from the UK. So yeah, it would be lovely if it wasn't dystopia in real life. I know I'm exaggerating. It's just a lot of bad news around at the moment. But that's why we have magazines in our games, to keep us up. And then this is an interesting choice. There is a lot of actual play shows around at the moment. So with Critical Role came everybody's enthusiasm to also play their games online and for an audience. And this is a really cute overview of, hey Jen, welcome to the chat. This is a lovely overview of an actual play called My First Dungeon. And it's an interview with the co-founder, Brian Flaherty. I haven't watched this yet, but the question I always love is, what makes your actual play different to all the other actual plays? And sometimes the difference is, are we running a different system, which is always cool because then you get to see how Morkborg works, or, you know, anything different to Dungeons and Dragons. So the question does pop up immediately. How can you tell us a bit about the show? Is it a bit different to many other shows out there? So this is cool. My First Dungeon is a tabletop role-playing podcast that helps game masters learn new games and make each one better than the last. Each season has 3 parts. We bring together the first-time games master and the creator of the game we're playing for that season. Oh, so they get to chat about it. And then they bring together a group of new and experienced players, and the GM runs the session, and they add music and sound design. Love that. Can you imagine someone doing proper sword noises and not me going shh? And yeah, that sounds really cool. So a nice overview of an actual play. And then we have a lovely ad for Calm. Oh, that's nice. United against feeling alone. Campaign against living miserably. United against suicide. You're never alone. thecalmzone.net. So everybody make sure you check out that link and get some calm in. And the next one we are looking at is the RPG Zine Club. So I don't know how many of you grew up in the 90s, but back in the day before the internet, if you liked a band, or you were wanting to tour in a band, you would connect with other fanzines. And I remember back in 1997 in London, there are so many different fanzines, and obviously there were loads of bands. It was a really lively scene. Fanzines, apparently, I don't know if this is apocryphal, but one, there were loads and loads of Doctor Who and Star Trek kind of independent, very kind of you to say, Jen, very independent, basically sci-fi fans doing fanzines. So now we have an RPG zine club. And of course there are loads of RPG zines because it is exploding at the moment. So yeah, it looks like a lovely fun thing to do. And again, magazine zines, that format is lovely. And this looks like something that people who really love RPGs should get interested in, because then they'll get a subscription and they'll get this through their post or a digital version that tells them all about what's going on. So it looks like lots of fun to check out. And this is just an overview of how Wyrd Science just covers loads of different aspects of gaming. Very cool. As you can see here, we've got some Christmas suggestions. Wow, that is a pretty epic Christmas jumper. So yeah, I mean, it's probably a little bit late if you haven't done your Christmas shopping now. But, still lovely stuff to look at and stuff to pick up in the January sales. Ooh, do you hear the COVID kicking in? Yeah, that's my voice. Ooh, and these are lovely deep dive articles. So this article is by an RPG historian, Shannon Appelkline, and you saw her picture at the beginning of the issue, the little contributors bit, which is very lovely. And yeah, this is just really enjoyable when people get to do a deep dive in text. And I don't know why, but this just reminds me of those long form articles that you get to absorb. So this is a really nice deep dive. Look at all the references we've got in here: Flash Gordon, Star Wars, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, Rogue Trader, Chainmail. Everything always goes back to Chainmail, doesn't it? So a lovely deep dive, like going through. You can see the years passing by like you're in a DeLorean. Yeah, mentioning all the good things: Starship Troopers, Traveller, Alien, Hard Times. We go on, 2000 AD, of course. But lovely. Blade Runner, yay! Some beautiful art here as well. Cyberpunk, of course. Shadowrun. Oh, Shadowrun is my biggest thing. I've always wanted to play it ever since I heard Dan Harmon's friends playing it on Harmontown. I have never yet played Shadowrun, which is a bummer. Vampire the Masquerade, which I have played, but kind of led to the downfall of a relationship. Would I play again? Probably not. Magic the Gathering, of course. Anyway, a really lovely long form article where you just get to go through somebody who clearly loves RPGs and go through that history. And that's a real sense of belonging and loveliness, because you know a bunch of other people have had similar experiences in gaming. So yes, look out for that one. Oh, yay. A party of adventurers walk into a bar. The punchline is they're not looking for a quest, they're already on one. David says, what's your favourite RPG, Mira? I think, I'll play any RPG. I'm not fussy. I like pretending to be a different character and getting around a game with dice. But I think maybe because of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon when I was little and being connected to it from a small one, like my dad and I were kind of very connected. My dad was the one who shared all my fantasy novels and sci-fi novels that my love of is from him. We used to talk about it as well. And then coming to London, I came out of a very painful relationship and started playing D&D. So I love Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, but probably because it was the one that heat sealed itself into my head. I could play it in my sleep. I can GM it. I'm not so great on the rules, but what I can't do in rules, I make up for in voices. Oh God. But yeah, I love D&D. It's like my home comfort. It's like my baby blanket of our RPG games. And there actually is quite a lot of shame now. Not shame, but if you are hanging out with the present cool, like young indie RPG actual play crowd, quite often, D&D is very sneered at, especially with the controversies that Wizards of the Coast keep getting into. They don't do themselves any favours. So yeah, that's kind of tricky. But I haven't actually played a game of Dungeons and Dragons for a really long time. I am in a group which has been playing for a couple of years through lockdown, from when my hair was bright pink and short, and we're picking up a game again soon, so that will be hopefully lovely. So yeah, Barkeep on the Borderlands. So yeah, and the party have to find an antidote because the monarch's been poisoned. And the adventurers will have the opportunity to explore no less than 20 different taverns. This sounds excellent. I think we should all play this. So yes, definitely take a look at that. Look at this artwork. It's so cute. Look at that gelatinous cube on a plate. Love, love, love. And then we have a lovely ad. Again, anyone who supports Wyrd Science, you should probably go and click on and say thank you. So thank you beyondcataclysm.co.uk. Yes, I encourage everybody to support any advertisers that advertise in an indie publication that you like. Go say hi, go do a like on a tweet to show them that advertising is effective. So David is saying, I own a lot of D&D, 7th Seal, Deadland Books, 7th Sea is probably my favourite. Okay. And Traitor says, last time I played D&D, we played anti-heroes with a quirk. I was a Death Knight with depression. Oh, Lord, somebody else was a sorcerer with dyslexia. Wow, I mean, you know, that's kind of edgy but whatever, like we're saying, like sometimes you need to get into dark spaces to appreciate the day. Oh, yay. So this is JP, the editor of the magazine, interviewing Kieran Gillen. So I know Kieran, again, from when I was in bands. Kieran was a music and games journalist, and Kieran also had fanzine. And it was a great fanzine. It was one of the best. And as you all know, he's so eloquent and erudite and funny and witty with words. And of course, little did Kieran and I know back then that we were both geeks. So Kieran's always been into gaming. And Kieran wrote Die, which is a great RPG. Again, very dark. And Kieran has also written a lot of comics. Most memorably for me, he wrote the Phonogram series. And he wrote that, and Jamie McKelvey did the artwork. So I'm huge fans of both Kieran and Jamie. And they put me in Phonogram and wrote about one of my bands in the back of 2 issues of Phonogram. And it was just so nice of Kieran and Jamie, because when I was younger, I always talk about this, I'm really ashamed. I was such a brat, and I was just completely egocentric and like, look at me. And so I feel very grateful they're so kind to include me and that nice people like me. It's very, very lovely. Kieran is ridiculously talented and talks about Die. And yeah, at Dragon Meet, Kieran came along to join in at loads of tables and take part. But we had I glanced at Kieran for like a millisecond. So I was like, Kieran, I'm going to give you a hug. We're not going to see each other again all day if we don't. And we had a hug, and then he disappeared and went off to make a bunch of role players really happy and cause chaos at their tables, which is fantastic. And John and Kieran having a chat is not something you should miss. So have a look, enjoy this interview. Okay, I'm just talk amongst yourselves. My voice is like doing its thing. Okay, so again, I like it when we have, Wyrd Science goes deep. So this one is Standees in the Way of Control. And this is Dan Thurott speaking to designers of 3 games that haven't shied away from putting historical events front and centre, confronting head-on issues of race, gender and sexuality that continue to resonate now. So, yeah, it's about basically putting politics in games and, addressing things that are all around us and playing through them. So this is a really nice article that gives time and space to that. This is a nice overview of some games that cover that kind of political arena. And I think, again, when you have YouTube videos and things, you don't get a lot of time for discourse, or you can, but it can be quite often in a heated debate or messages. So it's really lovely to have space in the magazine to kind of come to those and look them up. Not look them up, but come to these games and have a deep kind of introspective look at them and how they kind of echo what's happened and how this can help us now. So it covers 3 different games, Votes for Women, Stonewall Uprising, and This Guilty Land. So a really lovely article that takes you through those 3 games. And then Rogue Memories. And this is what catches us, all of our 40k fans, isn't it? Warhammer 40,000 may be the Eurotext for spirit-crushing sci-fi dystopias, but in the real world it's also inspired countless creative projects Don't we know, not least this humble channel and Arbeiter Ian. Few, though, have grabbed our attention like former Games Workshop employee Tammy Nichols' range of Rogue Trader era action figures. So this is where a lot of you lot are going to be like, hooray! So yeah, a really lovely article. And we get a Warhammer origin story from Tammy. And yay. She's great. Tammy's father was a sci-fi buff too. Love that. So you can see these are some great images. And I'm sure all of you are like, oh my gosh, I know these. I know what these represent. So yeah, this would probably be big for my crowd. So a lovely article there. And then Rogue Print Co. have done an advert for Middle Earth, a collection of Tolkien-inspired art. That sounds lovely. I'll definitely be looking that up. I do love the Hobbits. Kira says, I don't like what Critical Role did to D&D franchise with their fart jokes, juvenile humour, brand of D&D. BG3 follows the same formula. Yeah, different strokes for different folks, Kiras, you know? But that's why there are darker tone. There's so many actual plays. If you want something that's more grown up and intense and moody, you can find that out there. Rather interestingly, I struggle because sometimes I'll role play with players who want to take it really dark and have emotional moments, and that can be quite tricky if you're playing for some escapism and you want to have this camaraderie and silliness. So it's really like I think it's something you sort out with friends when you're sitting around a table. You all agree on the tone, right, or what you're all going to do. When you're looking on YouTube, it's quite easy. Just pick out the actual plays that give you a bit of life. And one of the good things I think about the silliness and the humour with Critical Role is it actually allows people to watch it as entertainment and then think, oh, this seems like an approachable or an attainable hobby. Whereas, you know, I sometimes think, you know, if you're watching people role playing, there might not be an entryway, but like I think my COVID brain is not making me speak good. But I think if you watch people having fun together playing a game, it may encourage you to try said game. So I'm sure that's certainly a reason why Critical Role is so popular. But yeah, I take that on board. It must be it could potentially be a bit like irritating if you just want to see them play the game. And then Jen has a link to Kieran that your brother-in-law used to work with his wife. It is a small world, Jen, a small world. So we are not even halfway through. And this is so exciting. This artwork looks great on the screen. It also looks amazing on the page. Look at that. Look at that. It looks so beautiful. It probably looks much better on the screen. But some really beautiful atmospheric images to go with the article. And that comes from Free League and the actual game. So yes, I mean, Shadowrun was the game as Blade Runner, but now we have the game Blade Runner, the official role-playing game. So yeah, I'm up for playing that. Let's see if somebody offers to GM for me for that game. What does it say? Blade Runner also draws on other noir films and games like Sherlock Holmes consulting detective with a strong focus on solving a core mystery. I'm happy for that. My favourite things in the world is reading Chandler's Philip Marlowe books, so happy to have that. Yeah, so Blade Runner, a lovely overview of the game there. Jen, I also knew Kieran as a sassy game journalist way before he was a popular book comic writer. I think all people with the same hobbies just pitch up in the same place. I hear that. And then here we go. Wow. So Stu Horvath has written Monsters, Aliens and Holes in the Ground, a guide to tabletop role-playing games from D&D to Mothership. So any game you want to find out about, Stu has written about, and he has picked 5 titles from that book. And the article covers how the RPG industry has developed the way it has. Wow, what a think piece. I love this. So yeah, so we're going to get some Shadowrun. We're going to get Palace of the Vampire Queen. We're going to get the Extraordinary Adventures of Baron Munchausen, D&D 3rd edition, which I never hear or read about, and Mothership. So how about some bang for your buck there? There we go. David, Shadowrun is a really fun world, let down by an old and creaky game system. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not really a rules cruncher. As long as somebody knows the rules, I'll just get on with them, I suppose. So yeah, interesting. The Naked and the Dread. So this is Chris McDowell's new ever since I watched that RuPaul's Drag Race episode, I've not been able to say apocalyptic. So yes, this is Chris McDowell's new apocalyptic skirmish game, The Doomed. So a nice overview, and again, some excellent artwork. Osprey Games, another big games company. So a fantastic overview. I mean, you're getting everything you could need, people. Like, this is enough for you to hold up your own in conversations in Dark Sphere and Bad Moon. They are London gaming venues. But again, I think the beauty and the grace of giving, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages is a really lovely way to explore games. And here, I mean, people will know my favourite thing to do is get behind the scenes on anything that's created. I love hearing from the creators. So this is perfection. And then again, a lovely... How many of you looked at that the Attention Citizen copy there and just thought, yep, this is my childhood. This is me growing up with my computer. So this is Paranoia. I mean, if you play games in London, you will not get away without playing Paranoia. Everyone plays it. Yay, John, thank you for ordering a copy. I know, Sean, the artwork is amazing. It looks very beautiful in the magazine as well. The other thing with Wyrd Science is, not that you should do this, but if you like any of the artwork, you can kind of like cut it out and frame it and put it up in your house. Looks lovely. So for those of you who don't know, as it says here, Paranoia is a satirical science fiction role-playing game set in a place called Alpha Complex. Alpha Complex is in theory a utopia, which we like, run by a machine known as Friend Computer. Aha! Alpha Complex is in fact so perfect that Friend Computer needs crack troops, so-called troubleshooters, to root out its many enemies, communists, mutants, and members of strange secret societies who wish to end its enlightened rule. So, yes, a beautiful article on the new Perfect Edition, a lovely overview of Paranoia, and some lovely illustrations throughout. Which also reminds me of that game, the computer game that came out in the pandemic, Among Us, where you all get to betray each other. Yeah. So, yeah, really lovely article. And, yeah, I just think Paranoia will remain popular for the rest of, it's one of those whose line is it anyway RPGs. And then we have an advert from Bogfolk. Again, let's all visit bogfolk.com, because anyone that supports indie game mags, we need to support. Yay! I'm just speeding up a bit because I'm feeling a little bit hot, a little bit feverish, so looking forward to getting through this. So this is the section towards the end, and it's a hit point. So this is all the little wrapping ups towards the end. We've had the main articles come through. How amazing did that rainbow illustration look on the last page, by the way? Amazing. So you get to have a quick overview of all these different things. You've got your index in the left-hand side, in the left-hand column. And of course, game of the month is Die RPG. Beautiful. And Also, I have to say all the John Power Jr. articles are well worth reading. Yes, I'm biased. Also, John is great at making my words sound 50,000 times better than they normally would. Great editor. So that here we have an article on Trophy Gold. Gosh, the voice. Dragonbane, another Free League. Pendragon. This is a bit of me. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Ultraviolet Grasslands and the Black City. Exciting. The problem with the magazine is it's going to show you all the games that you want to play and who do you have to play them with and where do we get the time to play them. And then we have Black Sword Hack. And then we have Lycoma. We have, oh gosh, sorry, just trying to make sure this doesn't fall off. We have Feathered Adventures and Border Riding. We have Pirate Borg, because we need Pirate Borg. Come on, we need Pirate Borg. We have Forbidden Lands, Book of the Beasts. We have Undaunted, Battle of Britain. Probably not one for me, but I know a million people at Hate Club that would love that. We have Votes for Women. We have Majestic 13. I mean, we are nothing if not completely comprehensive. We have Thunder Road, Vendetta, and we have Feed the Kraken. So, I mean, this is someone's whole Christmas list, isn't it? This is a very rich billionaires. And then we have some Warhammer. Yay. And yeah, okay, there's a choice. I like this paragraph. Boltgun's choice to focus on Chaos Cultists, Chaos Space Marines, and 2 out of the 4 flavours of Chaos Demon, Zench and Nurgle, does feel that enemy variety can feel a bit lacking by the time you hit the middle of its 9-hour campaign. So yeah, Warhammer 40,000 Boltgun. I wonder if Ian will play this for 24 hours for some charity candles. There are 31 of us in the stream. Welcome, everybody. I know, so many interesting games. It'd be great fun to play more games on the channel. And then right at the end, it's me. And I get to write an Appendix M. So this is just a little column at the end. And John was very kind because it's the Dystopia Warhammer issue. I got to write a little bit about my journey into Warhammer, how it all happened. So, of course, I talk about Dan Abnett and Eisenhorn and Arbeiter Ian and the Black Library. And I talk about White Dwarf magazine, Warhammer World. And yeah, it's, you know, reading it, I'm kind of like, this appendix is so all about me. Everything else has been about the purity and the amazingness of the games. But the way I see this is, my mum used to ask, not my mum, my grandmother used to read a magazine, and at the back there was a little character called Pudsey and he wrote his diary. So I'd get to write where I'm at with gaming and what I've been up to. And wherever the issue comes out, it lands at, I will write about something that ties in with the issue and ties in with my experience. And what a privilege it is for me to get to finish off an amazing magazine like this. So yeah, this is right at the very end of this is the last thing you see. So I really hope I leave a good impression. I was quite happy with the end of my column on this instance because it says, now when people ask me about my unlikely journey into the Grimdark, I smile wryly and look out of an imaginary porthole at an imaginary star field filled with the burning wrecks of improbably Gothic spaceships. I was there, I say. I was there the day Dan Abnett joined our book club, and I'm going nowhere, at least not until The End and the Death Volume 3 is finally released. I thought that was quite clever. Tells you a little bit about my psyche. Yeah, and then that's it. It's the cover. So, yeah, let me see if I can embiggen myself and do this thing. Yeah, and stop sharing in that way. Yeah. Oh, Ben. Ben says the back page of the magazine can be the most irreverent, or it's a boring next issue page. Well, I don't know about irreverent because, as you know, I'm very pure and scared of getting into trouble or offending anybody. So very happy and delighted that, you know, I do get to write that bit at the end of the issue, and it's called Appendix M, which is kind of like an in-joke. And yeah, the trust that John has put in me, like I've written articles and features over the last 4. This is Wyrd Science number 5. If John continues to ask me to do stuff for Wyrd Science, I will be so over the moon. And also he puts so much of his own time, money, love, effort in, and you can really tell it's made with so much love. It smells amazing. Look how thick it is. Super thick. Caveat lector. Wyrd Science Future Imperfect. It is a thing of beauty. So yes, this is not an ad. This is Mira as a contributor to the magazine, and I just really wanted to go through it and show off how lovely it was. I'm sure I haven't done it justice because I'm not feeling very well. But yeah, Sterling says, I think one of the main problems with modern role-playing is people are all caught up in the rules, in the minutiae of the details of the rules, rather than letting their imagination run free. Yes, there's always a mix of rule lawyers and play gamers. Yay, Aleph, thank you for joining. Have a good day at work. You are definitely a completionist, Mira. I know. It works against me. Curious, I like how a lot of Warhammer 40k and Star Wars is based on the Dune universe. Yes, my friend Kim and I did a video all about that. You can find that on my... Well, we didn't do it about Dune and Warhammer, but it's certainly all about Dune on my YouTube channel. And really good to see all of you a little bit briefly. Next Wednesday? I think it will be post-Christmas. So I might be doing a Show Me the Minis live, but really lovely to see everybody briefly. I think I'm going to go and have a bath and go straight to bed and feel a lot better. Yeah, but thank you for joining me in on the stream, a much shorter stream than usual, just so we could talk about how good the Wyrd Science magazine is. If you do decide to buy it, please do drop me a note in the comments. You can also like Wyrd Science on Twitter. I'm sure they have an Insta. Anywhere you see Wyrd Science, go give them a follow and support. And thank you all so much for watching. Sean says, woo, show me the minis. Okay, John, get some models ready. Thank you, Ben. I will get well soon. Thank you, Dave, for saying the same. Ben says, I think I meant more that the back page can be most different in style. Yes, I think so. And thanks so much to John for letting that happen. Yes, I'm aware that I look like Bob from Twin Peaks this evening, but I will get some good rest. It's nice to talk to people because I've been alone in the flat, getting better. Yay. I will get well soon, everybody. But thank you all so much and see you again soon. Oh, maybe... I don't know what day Sunday night is, but if Sunday night's not a Christmas night, maybe we'll be doing some role-playing, fantasy fighting if I'm better. Okay, I'm really going. Bye.